What's up, mortals? It's Dante from the anime Underworld, and today we are back from break with chapter 242 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled The Predicament. We got a nice cover page of Anne and Nasiens and some new feminine clothing with a pretty funny spirited chibi head of Percival. When we last left off, the Four Knights of the Apocalypse weren't exactly in the best condition, but is that going to change? Well, let's get into it. We begin chapter 242 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse with the 5 Knights of the Holy Grail egging Galahad on to finish the job. The other 3 Knights of the Apocalypse have been defeated, leaving only Lancelot to deal with. Even Galahad sees that this quote-unquote faker's time is up, saying, "You heard the guy, you Lancelot faker." But something catches the attention of the Son of War. Lancelot isn't scared or intimidated. He just smirks, telling them, "Hey, if you all want to jump at me all at once, fine then. But maybe you ought to check if you beat your own opponents first." Just ignore that thing in the background. It's then that the Grail Knights see what he means when they look upon Percival's body. Despite being riddled with arrows, something that no man should ever survive, there's rustling. Percival is still alive. That's right, the Knight of Death is not dead. Despite being riddled with arrows, he emerges out of his weird cocoon like a majestic butterfly. Percival even teases, "Phew, that was a close one. You really did nearly turn me into a hedgehog just then." And upon seeing Percival's life spirit magic in action, Kar and Lohengrin look very concerned, with Nasien's son saying, "Kar, could this be?" And his sister agreeing, "Yes, I know, but..." Before they could delve any further into what they just saw, they turn towards Ysaye because Tristan Leonis is still alive despite being supposedly impaled. Not only is he still alive, but he flew off the spear like he wasn't impaled at all, much to his future son's shock. Despite the fact that he was nearly impaled, Tristan isn't worried about that. He's more worried about how that attack broke off the blade of his sword. And he just cleaned it and adjusted it before they departed. So how could this be? Was that attack really that strong? No, the culprit is actually Lancelot, who outright admitted, "Oh, sorry, I gave Escanor a swipe in that tower." "So you're the culprit?"
Previously on Avatar.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Lancelot used the sword in his attack against the fake Escanor. Honestly, it has surprised me that that blade has lasted all the way up to this point. Despite everything that happened, it just now decided to break. Though Ysaye doesn't care about the sword, he's more concerned that that stab didn't hurt him, and wondered what the heck kind of trick did Tristan use to defend himself. I mean, he's got his own demon clan mark, so surely it could have worked, right? Lohengrin is up above, seeing all of their supposedly fallen enemies rise again for another round, telling them, "Stay calm and handle it, people." At least she should be following her own advice, because she freaks out when the Grail starts disintegrating right before her eyes. But there was never a Holy Grail there to begin with, Lohengrin. For you see, what was there all along was simply Gawain's illusion. Your almighty attack did nothing. And it's at this moment that the 5 Knights of the Holy Grail realize that things are just about to get serious. Kardiez and his sister are left amazed at that ball of magical force, and ask out of curiosity if what Percival has is a life spirit. Which is a very silly question to ask Percival. He tells them, "Maybe I don't look like it, but I sure am a life spirit." Yeah, they find out that the Knight of Death is actually a life spirit.
Now that is irony!
The two are left completely dumbfounded, but this raises a concern for Kardiez, who says, "If it is, then this man..." To confirm his suspicion, much to his sister's worry, Kardiez asks Percival, "Can I check something with you real quick?" Kardiez continues to walk over to Percival, much to his sister telling him, "No, Kar, don't let your guard down." And he really should have followed that advice. out of freaking nowhere, well, not really out of nowhere, y'all saw it earlier, that gigantic eel from before that almost snatched up the Four Knights of the Apocalypse just devoured Kardiez in one large bite. Lohengrin is in shock and horror that her brother just got eaten by a flying fish, calling out for his name. Even Percival is in complete shock that that just happened. Kardiez cries out for someone, anyone, to help her brother. But Lightwash is pretty busy right now at the moment, so they're out of the question. Lohengrin thinks that all hope is lost until Percival places his arm around her waist and leaps into the air with Lohengrin around his arm in order to save her half-brother from the giant eel. Despite the help though, Lohengrin is very confused, asking what are you doing as they fly towards the flying fish. As they fly through the air, Percival tells her, "He matters to you a lot, right? So let me help." And of course, he matters to her, Percival. She says that Kardiez is my one and only half-brother. She accepts Percival's help, but asks a very important question. How's he gonna catch up to it at that speed? With the Knight of Death explaining, "I don't need to catch up at all."
So what's your plan for getting past those guys? Live bait. Good idea. Hey.
Meanwhile, inside the bowels of the flying monster, kind of having himself a Jonah and the Whale type situation, Kardiez is not freaking out that he's inside the belly of a beast, but rather, he's contemplating something else. Thinking to himself, is that even possible though? But this definitely isn't the world I know. And comes to the conclusion, perhaps it's really true then. Before he can talk to himself any further like a complete lunatic, he is joined by his sister who calls out his name, Kar. Lohengrin rushes towards her half-brother with complete relief. And Kardiez is very surprised that his sister is inside the belly of the beast with him. And it's all thanks to the Knight of Death, Percival, who Kardiez asks, "You came all this way here to help me?" Despite, trying to literally impale him with lots of arrows. But to Percival, that's water under the bridge. Of course he did. But the question is, how? Well, it wasn't the best option, but Percival explains, "I just hovered in the air pretending to be food, and it came right for us." Not the best plan, but hey, it worked. Kardiez can't believe that he actually did that. He was with Lohengrin the entire time. Wait, you were with her at that time? After taking her helmet off, Lohengrin tells her brother, he really is a dead ringer for that freak we know. Oh, you have no idea. It's at this moment that Percival actually sees the Holy Grail Knights without their mask. Now that Kardiez doesn't have his invisibility cap and Lohengrin doesn't have her helmet, he sees the faces of the people who have been trying to kill him. And it's at this time Percival is very, very confused. He can't quite put his finger on it just yet, but he asked, have you met me before in the past? Now that they're all together, despite being in the belly of the beast, Kardiez asked the question that he wanted to ask before. I know this question is going to sound ridiculous. Do you have a lover in your life? Really took the wind out of Percival. He is just dumbfounded because there are certain things you don't ask a man. And that isn't one of them because he awkwardly blushes and explains to them, well, not a lover though. What I do have is 2 wives, And he tells them their names, much to their shock. One is Nacien, and the other is Anglahad. And the expression on both of their faces says it all. They now know exactly who this guy is.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
But then the 2 siblings look at each other as if their entire worldview is shattering before them and silently form a plan. A plan that Percival is not exactly excited to be a part of. Why? because they grabbed the Knight of Death by his winged green hair, and then, with their own green hair, they had to confirm what Percival looks like with facial hair. Yeah, they aren't just comparing Percival's green hair to their own. So not only did they want to see that if their green hair matches his green hair, but they wanted to see what Percival would look like with facial hair. So after hearing the names of Percival's lovers and seeing what he would look like with facial hair, the two realized who this man really is. And it's here, after several chapters, that these two Grail Knights finally figure out who they've been trying to kill. It wasn't a Percival imposter, it was their actual dad. As they both cried, "It's you, Dad!" leaving Percival the one to be very confused now. Lohengrin tries to explain everything as best as she can. "You're completely our father. You can't be anyone else, except you're so young." Even Kardiez can't believe it. Agreeing with his sister, "Yes, I never would have believed it either." And Percival has just so many questions. Huh? Who? Dad? It's then that Kardiez and Lohengrin decide to drop an absolute truth bomb, nay, a truth nuke on Percival. Kardiez just tells Percival right out of the blue, "Both of us, we're your children." And I think that's going to be the last time we see any of Percival's sanity for a long, long while.
I'm gonna be a dad. Yeah.
Meanwhile, outside of the flying eel fish thing, Ysaye is facing off against Tristan Leonis, attempting to repeatedly stab him numerous times with his angelic spear, using all of his force and might to try and impale Tristan Leonis, kinda like Vlad the Impaler. He keeps trying to do it over and over and over again, yelling at the top of his lungs, "I don't know how you blocked that last strike, but don't expect a painless death before a demon's full might."
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A demon's full force. Kid, you have scrawny chicken goddess clan wings and not demon clan wings. You're not even half demon, so what would you know the full force of a demon's power is even like? Even your past father is sick of your imposter bull and grabs the spear before you can attempt to stab him yet again. This stuns the Holy Grail Knight mid-stabbing when Tristan just yoinks the spear right out of his hands and just tosses the spear over his shoulder like it was freaking nothing. Not gonna lie, I got Luke Skywalker vibes from that, and despite everything that Ysaye threw at him, only his clothing was torn apart. No damage to his body at all. And Tristan gives his son a very stern and important warning. He looks down upon Ysaye and explains to him the power of a demon is a detested power, one that hurts many other clans in battle, as the power of darkness continues to surge within his hand. And then the next shot is engulfed with the power of darkness. It is also the power of the man I respect, as he shed blood and tears in order to protect the one he loved. Ysaye looks at Tristan displaying his demonic power, feeling the ominous presence as he tells him with final words, "If you lack similar resolve, then do not speak of a demon's power."
Falcon punch!
With his hand coated in the demon clan's power, Tristan delivers a swift and powerful punch to Ysaye's face. Yeah, everyone in the demon clan's bloodline seems to talk through punching, and this is no exception. Blood spews from Ysaye's mouth, but he's not done yet. Using whatever force he can, he retaliates with his own punch to Tristan's face. But I've seen Invincible, I know how this goes. And we end chapter 242 with Tristan displaying his own authentic demon clan mark before Ysaye's, showing him the power difference that he has compared to his own son. The true power of someone born with demon blood in his veins. And it's at this moment that Ysaye finally recognizes Tristan as his own father. And that is how we end chapter 242.
No, I am your father.
Some pretty good moments this chapter, with Percival having some close heart-to-heart moments with his kids, and Tristan just ore farming with his demon mark mode against his son's pathetic, inferior demon mark. Heck, it's just even a demon mark, it doesn't have darkness, it just has light. And by the end, Ysaye figures out that he has been facing his own dad. So half of the Grail Knights have just found out that they're in the past. But here's the big question. Who sent them there? Given that we saw this furry little a couple of chapters ago, and we know how much he loves using time magic for just about anything, it could be possible Kath just plucked them out of the future while he transformed himself into King Arthur. However, there could be another future enemy that we have to deal with, but we're going to have to wait and see and find out the truth in chapter 233. If you love 7 Deadly Sins and 4 Nights of the Apocalypse material, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more weekly reviews coming your way very soon. But stick around for more fun content coming your way in the future. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld, and I'll see you mortals later.